Hello and welcome to Connections Forum. We are in episode 44 and our topic of today is how can a woman become more self-confident about her business idea? And we have a special guest, Adele Michal, and we will talk about her a little later. Before, I want to present Connections. Connections Forum offers interviews and talks about the most important areas of our life, such as healing and improving our relationships, nurture conscious awareness, and expressing who you really are. And also how to continue your personal healing process. The purpose of our show is to inspire and teach you skills for dealing with the mental, emotional upheavals that happens to anybody from time to time. All episodes are recorded and posted on our website, hangoutonconnections.com. And please interact with us live here on the event page. We have comment tracker on and we will put it on screen, but you write to us and we will answer your questions. Thank you. So, some words about me. I'm Heidi Hornlein from the powerofrelationship.com and also the wisdomfactory.de for Germany. I'm a transformational coach, a relationship counselor, and a voice therapist. And I work with people who don't feel fully realized yet. And I help them to find their own voice, real voice, and the voice they have in the world. And I'm also a Hangout show coach, like here, coach, what do I say? A Hangout show host, like here with Margherita, and also with our new show, The Wisdom Factory. And I have a retreat here in Italy, Paradiso Integrale, where we invite you to come and for a personal retreat or take a course or whatever you want. I think I've talked enough about me. Now, up to you, Margherita.
Hello, I'm Margherita Crystal Lotus. I am an intuitive life and business mentor who helps women to overcome emotional problems and see their career flourish. And I also have a retreat here in Kingston, Ontario called Enchantment Healing Retreat. And this is for private clients that I mentor all over here. And that is so a great experience. And my website is thecrystallotus.com, and I have continued doing these beautiful connections hangouts on our show here since January 2014, and it's going really great. I'm so excited to participate on the Google Plus. And today we have a special topic. How can a woman become more self-confident about her business idea? And our special guest is Adele Michal, I think it's pronounced. She helps mission-driven women in business to make more sales by becoming more authentic and magnetic while selling with integrity. She teaches her client how to enter a peak state so that they can create a win-win situation for themselves and their prospects in every single sales conversation. By developing and using an optimal selling state of mind and body, her clients close more sales by the right people, make more money, and fulfill their mission of serving through their business. Hello, Adele.
Hello, Margherita and Heidi. Thank you so much for having me here.
This is so awesome to have a professional like yourself. Did I miss something in the introduction?
Well, there's a lot more to me than just that, but no, that's what my business is, and that's what I love doing, is helping conscious entrepreneurs get their work more out into the world. And my chosen vehicle for that is helping them become more comfortable with selling, get better at selling, and sell to the right people. and really take the taboo off the word sales and selling. I have some people say, oh, don't talk to me about selling. Well, if you're in business, you have to sell. And what that means is an exchange of value. So your services for my money or my services for your money. So
yeah, I think that many people in the, coaches and like I'm a healer, right?
Yes.
Really, really need to know about this. So for the topic today, I want to get some background from you. What idea made you start your business?
Well, I started many years ago. I have a background in counseling psychology. I have a master's, and I was a therapist, and I really, that didn't work. What I was taught really didn't work to help me help people change. So I got into hypnotherapy and NLP and a lot of things that probably a lot of your listeners use and know about. And I really found that helping people perform better came from the inside, from deep inside, really, not the conscious mind, but the subconscious mind. And I started, and this is a tip I want to give to your listeners. I'm not quite sure what that is. That really helped me. I started by starting. I think a lot of us get really paralyzed by trying to figure the whole thing out without really starting. So I started my business really doing practice sessions with hypnotherapy. And I got better and better. I did maybe 20. And by the 15th session, people were saying, well, you do this for a living, right? Can I do more of this with you? Can I pay you? I mean, they literally asked me that. And I was like, yes, you can pay me.
How amazing! Did you actually hear that?
Yeah, so that would be my first piece of advice to your listeners. Start your business really small. You could even be practicing, but get good at your skill and get the word out that you're doing business, and people will start asking you, would you help me? So I think the first step really is to start small. Not try to overleap yourself, but start small. So that's how I started, and I just found it so rewarding that I just kept doing it and kept finding other people to help, and eventually I started helping collegiate athletes. And we would, with mental peak performance, and we would talk about their upcoming competition. I would help them get aligned in their body and their mind and their spirit, and then they would go out and perform their very best. It happened time after time after time. It was amazing, and I had a good skill set, but I was continually amazed that working with the subconscious mind would make those kind of physical changes. And so over the years, I continued to do that work, and now I bring some of those skill sets and business experience and knowledge that I have into my business to help women just like you and me get much more comfortable with business, with selling, and with providing great service.
That's amazing, yeah. Well, so let's say this. We have a number of women here watching who has an idea.
Yes.
And then they're not so confident
yes.
about the idea itself, the product or the service they have. What would you advise somebody who has a great, that they think, a business idea? Where should they start?
Well, it depends on what it is. If it's a service, I would definitely start with saying, I'm going to go out and serve 5 people, and I'm not going to charge for it, or I'm going to charge very little money. And get and do the service, and see if, A, number one, if you like it, B, number one, if the people that you're doing it for like it and are interested in more. And that way you get real life experience rather than staying in your head. So that's the first piece. The second piece is I just think this is such a great idea. A lot of chefs and restaurateurs start with food trucks or a food cart. they don't have enough money to have a whole restaurant. So they'll start with a little piece, and they'll go to where people are and feed them their food and get feedback. We all need feedback. It's really easy to live in our heads. It's like, I think it's a good idea, but I don't know. So if you know, or if you want to start a healing center, maybe you go work in a healing center. See if you really like it. See if that's what you want to do. Do your healing services in someone else's center or a bed and breakfast. I know bed and breakfast prospective owners will go and stay and work in a bed and breakfast for a week or 2 weeks to see if they really like it. So it's really trial in the marketplace. That's one. Number two is build 20% of it and go sell it. Then you'll find out if there's a market for it. I think a lot of us, again, stay in our heads and say, I think that people really need this, but I don't know how to do it. Do something about it and get your feedback. And it's not failure if you find out, oh, I didn't really like doing that, or that's really not the right thing for me, maybe over here. That's one way to get self-confidence about your idea. The second way, and I'd like to share this with you, it's from The Art of Feminine Presence, and that's a course and a trademarked set of practices by Rachel Jane Groover. And I'm a licensed Art of Feminine Presence teacher. And if I may cut off my head, but I want to stand up and show you how to get centered in your body so that you feel confident wherever you are. Is that okay?
Well, go ahead. Let's see.
Let's see if it works.
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. So what I'd like you to do, everyone, is just drop your attention down to your pelvic area, 3 inches below the navel, in the middle of the body. And this is what I call the body's brain. The body's brain. This is the head brain. This is the body brain. And so you have access to all your body wisdom when you're centered here. And Eastern philosophy and practice teaches us that this is our main power center. It's the center of the body, and it's the center of your wisdom. So if you're, okay, so let's try this. So Margherita, will you be my guinea pig?
Yes, I'm going to be the guinea pig, yes.
Okay. So Margherita, I want you to think of like you have a head bubble. Like you're a cartoon character and there's a bubble and all your thoughts are up here. Yeah? Mm-hmm. So Margherita, what do you do? So from that place, tell me what you do.
Well, I'm a former math student, and I've studied a lot of things, and I worked in a lot of places, and so on, and it's all about me, right?
Yes, excellent, excellent. So a lot of us live up here in the head. Yeah, it's a very easy place to go. We're trained to be in the head. Think about it, analyze it. Okay, let's now bring your awareness down. Now down further, down into your pelvic area.
Oh, yeah. To the pelvic, yeah.
Yeah, to your, we call that home base.
Home base.
Home, yeah. So get centered there and breathe, yeah. Margherita, what do you do?
I love people that I can help.
I get it. Oh.
It makes me so happy to help people, especially women who has had some kind of unfortunate thing happen to them and they are in a rut. I can help them.
Yes, I get it. I get it. Heidi, did you sense a difference in how she talked to us in those two positions?
It was a different voice and also a different posture, and the words were softer, you know. They came out in a different way, and also the content quite different, you know. So really. Mm-hmm. And
if you were looking for a coach, which Margherita would you have been more attracted to?
Only the second one, never the first one.
Yeah. So that's number 2 way of getting more self-confident about your business idea. It's come home. So place your awareness in your pelvic area, in your power center in the second chakra. And it takes practice. It's a good thing to practice every day, like where is my attention, where is my awareness? So that when you get into more stressful situations, when someone says, what do you do? You're like more used to being down in your power center, being home. So that's the next step. So there's a third step in that going home process, and that's creating a light globe around you so that you're nourished by the light, you're protected by the light, and you radiate the light. So go home and turn on the light. That's an excellent practice for all of us in any interaction that we have.
Cool. I mean, you are a healer.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Thank you. We're sisters.
Yay! Yeah. So, do you have psychic abilities as well?
I do. Yes, I'm quite intuitive. I'm very sensitive. Yeah. So I don't see things so much. I'm more clairsentient, so I know things. Yeah. And so it's a little hard for me sometimes to be in a room with a lot of people because I'm subconsciously reading everything and trying to sort it out and see who I need to go help. So yeah, I have to recharge. Yeah.
But now we're only you and me and Heidi here, right? Plus 11 million other people.
That's right. Yeah, there's just a few of us on the planet now. Yeah.
This is so amazing. Yeah, and so what is your greatest achievement for you in working with your clients?
Oh, do you mean what do I get the most pleasure from, or the most what? Well, I'm just like you. It just so enthralls me and turns me on and makes me happy when I see people be able to shift into more of what they want. That does it for me. It just makes me so happy. Yeah. And I know it's not coming. It's coming through me, and I do have a skill set, and I am very good at what I do. But I've always known, even as a young practitioner, I knew that it was coming from spirit. I knew it was not me doing it, and that there were lots of helpers. So being in that company, it's very rewarding to me too.
Right.
Well, I would have a question. How do you handle these negative voices, this trying to hold you back? Also, you have this feeling, also you know that is what you do really well, and that there's somebody saying, oh no, you better, these voices. How do you handle these?
That's such a great question, Heidi, because we all have them. It's just it seems to be a part of the human equipment, right? One way to handle them is to have a friend, a coach, or a mentor that you can go to and say, this is what's happening, and they can say, that's not how I perceive it. This is how I perceive it. So you get a reality check. Number 2 is to step back and question it. It's like, is that really true, the Byron Katie work? Is that true? Is that real? How do you know that? And then the third piece that I found actually recently very, very helpful is to do dialogue journaling, where I speak to the voice, or I speak to my higher self and say, help me see the truth on this. So I think intent, and that's just a vehicle to see or know the truth. So, whether you like to journal or not, you don't have to do that, but you can ask, please show me the truth of this, and be receptive to what comes through. Go ahead.
I wanted to say this is wonderful for people who already are on a certain level and already have a certain confidence. How do you handle women who have really very little confidence. How do you first prepare them to be able to do these exercises?
Well, that's a great question too. I think we all do better when we have love and nurturance. So I always intend to be loving and nurturing in my coaching sessions. So I would, if someone was really starting out on the spiritual journey, on the self-development journey, and they didn't have a lot of self-confidence, I would, number one, help them clear the pain and the trauma from the past, because that's where the lack of self-confidence comes from, I think. Number two, I would teach them how to be kinder to themselves, like take their needs seriously, learn to love themselves. A lot of people benefit a lot from inner child work, where you imagine that your younger self is the one who's having the issue with the self-confidence, because that's usually where it happens from 0 to 7, the way we're treated, and what we make of that. So I would encourage them to do a dialogue, play act between their adult competent self and their child hurt self, and give her the love, or him the love that they need. I really think a lot of our journey is learning to self-parent, to become our own parent, because many of our parents they did their best, but they weren't masters at parenting. I have yet to meet a master. Well, there are probably some masters at parenting, but I don't know a lot of people who had them as parents.
And I have still a question, because I do similar work as yours,
Yeah.
and sometimes quite often I find that the adult part is very less developed.
Yes.
And it's very likely that there is a fusion, that it is drawn into the child part. So for this work, we need a very strong adult presence. So I'm wondering, how do you build up the adult presence, adult voice?
Right. So if the person doesn't already have an adult voice within themselves, I would ask them to imagine an adult figure that they trust, and it can be a fictional character, or it could be their guardian angel. If they have none of that available to them, then to me that means that they had a very difficult time growing up. And what would I do with that? I would ask them if I could help them with that, not necessarily to touch them physically, but ask them if they trust me enough to be a stand-in for their adult self. And if they've come to you, hopefully they do trust you enough to let you help them.
It sounds to me a little bit more like traditional psychotherapy you would do in this case.
That would be traditional. That would be more Gestalt, I think. But I also do clearing work through theta healing and access consciousness, where I just ask that energy goes to the light and it be cleared. And it doesn't happen, you might have to do a lot of clearings, but it lifts the energy off the person so they're no longer dealing with it in the moment. How do you handle that?
Oh, I have a certain process work where we access also the unconscious, and questioning in the unconscious, and reinforcing the adult part, by reminding anchoring in the unconscious the qualities what the real adult has, and then from there creating the shift, that they are able to shift into the other part, so
that's
very
beautiful.
interesting. Thank you. I don't want to interfere too much with Margherita's questions. Go ahead, Margherita.
I was just waiting to see if I could get in there, right? So, Adele, what is the things that you, for your, like if you have a business client, she is a little bit confident, can you give us a little bit more information of how you do the middle part? Yeah, you got a little bit of confidence, and then how do you develop it so that it will be full confidence so that they can actually, yes, I'm doing this after these first several sessions, and then you're testing it and something like that? What's the progress in the path?
Well, the progress always involves taking it into the marketplace, which is the scariest for each and every one of us. It's like, ooh, you know, if it's something that's very important to you, it's like being an artist. You're taking your best work out there and asking people, do you like this? So it's very scary. So, and I was just doing this with a client yesterday who is gaining confidence for sure, and what we were talking about was she's progressing into a new part of her business, and she's taking consciousness work into corporations. And so what I asked her, and she has a corporate background, so when she wasn't very confident about it to start with, and now she's gaining confidence. And I asked her if she had former contacts that she could talk to about what they're up to, what their problems are, and talk to them about how maybe she could help solve them. And so she's going to do that. So that's going to build her confidence, because some people are going to be interested in what she has. So we worked on what she's going to say and what she's going to offer. So it could be an introductory kind of program. And we talked about that. What are their urgent wants? How can you solve them? It's really important for all of us as practitioners to realize nobody cares about hypnotherapy or matrix energetics. They don't care. They don't care. They want to know if you can help them feel better, look better, do better in business. It's like if you and I were going on a trip to Aruba and the airline sold us what kind of plane it was, how much experience the pilot had, how great the snacks were. We don't care. We do not care. We want to go to Aruba, right? Especially you, because it's so cold in Canada. So I think that we have to watch out for that. But having a kind of a general idea of what you want to say to people, being home in your home space and on home base, and going out and talking to people about what you do and what they need, that's market research, and you have to keep doing that. So that's the next step. So gaining some confidence and then taking it to the market and finding out if people are interested in what you have or not. And by the market, I mean your market is different from mine. I go to business networking groups. You probably go to yoga classes and meditation classes to meet people. It's different for each one of us. So you go someplace where you think the people you'd like to work with are, and you start talking. It's really all about conversation. And I want to be real clear. Sales is only a conversation. Sales can make a difference in someone's life, even if they don't ever do business with you. I've had many people say, oh my gosh, I'm so much clearer now, having talked to you, whether they bought or not. So it's all about conversation, being in conversation with other people, what their needs are, and how you can help them.
I have another. Okay, go ahead.
I wondered, what do you do when you offer a thing and you know you can help these people very much, and they sort of don't believe it. They think they need something else. And you see it with your expert eyes, what they really need. How do you tell them that you could resolve their problems?
Well, I think that's another big trap we fall into as intuitives and as healers, is we know what people need. We know what they need. We can feel it. We can see it. We may not know the details, but we know it. What sells people, what gets people engaged enough to exchange their money and their time for your services is when you talk about how you can help them get what they want. And it has to be an urgent want. It can't be, oh, it'd be great to go to southern France in June. That would be great. But I don't have an urgent need to do that. That's not top on my priority list. So I think being a really good listener and engaging your coaching experiences and abilities in that conversation, what is it you really want? And if what you really want is something I can help you get, let's do business together.
Thank you for that answer, Adele. I had another question. Did you ever experience some kind of crash? Like, what is the biggest fear, do you think, in your clients when they go out in the marketplace and trying to say, can I sell you this? Or tell us a little bit about that.
Say it that way, though, would you? You wouldn't say it that way, would you, Margherita?
Well, I'm a controversial person, I think. So, what are the most greatest fears, let's say, that your clients have?
Well, I'm going to generalize this to most women. There is a gender difference between men and women. Men, if they have 80% of the information, are confident that they can do the job. Women need about 120% of the information before they're confident. Yeah? So I think that we have to get over ourselves of having to be perfect, and I believe it's a cultural conditioning that we have to be so much better and so much more prepared than our male counterparts, because we haven't been valued. What we bring has not been valued the same way that what they bring, right? The masculine has been valued more than the feminine in most cultures for the last umpty years. So I think that it's really, okay, here are two processes that I use. Number one is to speak to the child or the part of you that's really frightened of going into the marketplace and seeing what she needs. I often tell that part of myself to stay home. She's going to have a wonderful caretaker and she's going to play. And I'll go, the adult part, like Heidi and I were talking about, the adult part will go and do the talk or the networking or the presentation. Okay? That's number one. Number two is, the stats for getting clients, for the number of clients you're going to get, are really ridiculous. It's between 1 and 10% of the number of people you speak to. So if you speak to 10 people, you might get one person who wants to work with you. That's just the numbers. And so to realize that it's not rejection, it doesn't say anything about you as your value as a person. If someone says no, thank you, not now, it's too much money, whatever, and we can get into that whole money conversation at another time perhaps, but just to realize that not everybody's going to work with you. You don't want everybody to work with you because there's some people who aren't appropriate for you, that aren't a good fit for you, and would make you unhappy to work with. And that it's really okay for people to say no to you. It's not rejecting you. It's not telling you you're an unvaluable person and shouldn't be a member of the human species. It's just, that's business, That's business. And if you're a healer selling your services, you're in business. Did I answer your question?
Oh, yes, you did. And you were so intuitive as well, because I got my words mumbled up. And you just picked up the whole thing, and while my phone is ringing and my computer is not muted, and so I went into that little scared child there in the marketplace, and then I had to sort of multitask with my head.
Thank you.
So you brought me really back into sort of the head and the home here, right? Yeah. So I don't know, what is the general advice that you would give to somebody who has a business idea and haven't really started yet? They're not particularly scared about it, but how do you get them to actually start and take action?
Oh, that's a great question. Well, it depends on the kind of person it is. Some people are real go-getters, and they'll kind of self-motivate. Other people might be more frightened, and they want to do it, but they're kind of frightened of it. So, like a small test would be a good thing. And if we're working together, they know they have support, and they can be in touch if something happens. It's a truth. I really, and you both probably can relate to this. It is a truth that having your own business is the most unique and challenging self-development course in the world. And if you're up for that, then you got to go and try some stuff. And if you don't try some stuff, then there's some other blocks that we need to clear. And some of it can be deep-seated fear of need to survive. That's our primal instinct, is to survive. And something is getting in the way. So I think for some people it's a really small task, like to ask a friend, could I give you a massage, please? If that's what you want to do. It could be, I did this early in my career. I set up a free workshop and invited people to come for an hour and a half. And I talked about what I did. And it was specifically for golfers, because I was doing the mental peak performance. And that really opened a lot of doors for me. So I think we look at the negative side, but we forget to look at the positive. Like, what could possibly happen if I did this? And it's the heroine's journey, Margherita. That journey. It's like we're called, we reject the call, and then we have to go on the journey. And there are many, many challenges, and there's much help. So, knowing that you're not alone, make sure you have some support, whether it's a coach, a mentor, a friend, a mastermind group. I mean, we are communal creatures, so having a community with you. And I think the other thing to remember is that each one of us was placed here, came here with a unique set of gifts. And if we don't give them, then we're not doing what we came to do. So I would just really ask people to let the fear be there and manage it. Go home or take care of your inner child, or imagine someone is standing right there supporting you as you take that next step. I think that's what we're here for.
We have a comment here from Scott Snowcroft. And he says, could Adele compare and contrast working with adults versus working with teenagers?
Well, yes, I can. Adults are much more complex because the patterns are denser and more set in. Teenagers, they may be very confused, and they have a lot going on physically with their hormones and stuff, but their patterns are not as set. So I actually have found, when I worked with the collegiate athletes, they were late teens, early 20s, their changes came faster than some of the adults I worked with.
Cool. Heidi, do you have a final question for Adele?
I can't think at the moment. Ask you before I had some, and now I'm a little bit out of sync, and maybe it comes back.
So we're coming to the end of this episode, and Adele, what is, we could share a little bit about, do you have a website? How can people meet you? What do you offer?
I do have a website. It's called womenmakemoremoney.com. Yeah, and men too. It's got men too. So if you go to womenmakemoremoney.com/gift, GIFT, I have a free gift for you there. It's a series of many reports that talk about how you make money movies, inner money movies, and where you store them in your body, and what you can do about the ones that aren't serving you. So I invite people to go there and download the free gift. It's a digital download. I would love to share that with you. And if anyone is interested in talking to me, they can go to my website on the contact page and let me know they'd like to have a conversation.
Wonderful.
Did you remember your question now, Heidi?
I don't. I'm really excited about what you have shared, and I see many commonalities with what we are doing. And for me, it was very interesting to see this different perspective which you have. So it's enriching myself. So I'm a little bit selfish in this because I have learned I was not so much in service of our watches. But excuse me.
We forgive you.
Yay!
We forgive you.
You're part of it. Yeah. And I really enjoyed our exchange about enhancing the adult. That was very helpful for me. So thank you. Yeah. So can I, Margherita, before we finish, can I just give the 3 main points, kind of reiterate the 3 main points I'd like to leave people with? Number 1 is start small. Start small. And I have made that mistake of starting too big. Start small, start local, start talking. That's number 1. Number 2, go home, turn on your light globe. Go home, turn on your light globe. Practice that every day. And if you're out and about, ask yourself, am I home? That's going to make you more radiant. It's going to make you more confident just naturally. And it's going to make it easier for you to be in conversation. Excuse me. And number 3, remember, it's all a conversation. It's not sales. It's not business. You're talking one-on-one. There, back in the 60s, I think, there was the migrant workers in California organized a boycott of the grapes. They weren't going to pick grapes because they were trying to get better wages. And so, I'm sorry, I can't remember the gentleman's name, but he was the leader of this movement, and it changed immigrant worker laws in terms of wages and made their conditions a little better. And someone asked him how he started that movement. He said, well, I talked to one person, and then I'd go talk to another person, and then I'd talk to another person. And they said, no, really, how did you start this movement? I talked to one person, and then I talked to another. So don't forget the power of talking to one person and serving one person, because that will serve you too.
That is so awesome. It's so simple and effective that we almost forget to mention it. So thank you so much. I am really, really excited that you came here. And for those who are listening, go to see Adele's website and do go for her gift. I think you're going to be benefiting very much from that. So Heidi,
I would invite Adele to write your website in the event page and also give it to Margherita that we publish it on the website, so that, because we don't have a lower third from you, so people who watch this video, they won't see it. Okay. You know? So written is always better than only by ear. Okay?
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you, Bud.
Thank you so much. It was nice to meet you, and I hope we meet again and talk maybe a little bit more about these methods we are using.
Yeah. We would love to have you again.
Oh, I'd love to come back. Yeah. We can talk about sales then. It's not a taboo.
Okay.
I come and be your guinea pig with sales, okay?
Yes, ma'am. That'd be great. Okay, thank you both so much.
Thank you, and bye-bye.
What are we doing next week?
Next week is nothing. No, next week is Thanksgiving.
Oh, so we don't have an episode next week?
No, I don't think anybody would come and listen. So there was a hole in our spreadsheet, so we have nothing.
We got a holiday. We can practice being
holiday. Yes. And the week afterwards, we will have an episode with Marianne West, who happens to be my sister, about healing food. She has then accompanied her husband for 2 years by making special food for him. So she will talk about that because he had a cancer diagnosis and it went much better. So she will talk about that.
Okay, thank you for this episode, and welcome to see the replay on Hangout on connections.com, and then we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Okay, bye-bye.